Good morning. And this morning I'm going to be moving into an area that I don't usually cover, and that is internet drama. And the reason I'm moving into this area is because, well, I think there's two very important issues that need to be discussed. The first one is gaming culture, and the second one is DMCA strikes. And first off, we had over the weekend or tail end of last week, Pewdiepie did a live stream in which he used a specific word, and the word was the N-word. And just so you've got a little bit of context, here's a clip.
What? What the fuck is happening?
What the hell was that? The potato was fucking insane. I was holding it so fucking straight.
What a fucking nigger. Jeez, oh my god, what the fuck? Sorry, but what the fuck? What a fucking asshole. I don't mean that in a bad way. Jesus fuck. Why would he do that? Legit, why would he do that?
I'll be absolutely honest with you. This is one particular word that I do have issues with, and I do find it problematical. And I really don't like to hear it. If I give you a little bit of history about myself, I have actually stood outside a nightclub with a friend of mine. Well, nightclub is stretching the point a bit. But anyway, I stood outside a venue after a night out with a friend of mine who happened to be black, and we were afraid for our lives. Now, the reason we were afraid for our lives was because he was black and I was his friend. And now I'm going to use the word because I need to. And the people in this particular venue had threatened to beat the crap out of me and him because he was a nigger and I was a nigger lover and a traitor to my race. So I have particular issues with the use of that word because I've actually stood there and waited to have my head caved in by a Neanderthal fuckwit. Now, you also know on my channel that I swear quite a lot, so I haven't got a particular issue with swearing, but I do think that some words are dodgy and you have to use them in specific contexts, and we have to be very, very careful about the use of them. So Pewdiepie using the N-word is problematical for me. I do have a problem with it, and I do think that Pewdiepie is showing himself at this stage to be someone who, while I genuinely don't believe him to be a racist, I do think that he is a guy who either has a self-destruct button or has some form of Tourette's or something. And I don't want to upset people who genuinely have Tourette's, but it is looking a bit like that. I had a friend some years ago who was in a situation where whenever he got stressed out, he would say something inappropriate. And it wouldn't necessarily be racial slurs or anything like that. He would just say or do something inappropriate. And I'm starting to think that maybe that's where Pewdiepie is. It seems to me the more pressure he gets on him, the more he acts like an idiot. But, you know, I think this is a slip of the tongue. And I'm not going to over defend him here. I do think that, you know, he should be censured in some way for what he's done. I think people should make it clear to him that, you know, you can't go around casually using words like the N-word. And I do think this is a bigger issue. I think that if you look at Pewdiepie, he exists in this kind of virtual world that is quite different. And if you look at gaming culture, and this is the point really that I want to raise here, if you look at gaming culture, it's chock full of this shit. You know, you go on and you start playing a video game and you've got people screaming down the pipe at you that you're, you know, either a fag or a nigger or whatever it might be that they're saying to you down the pipe. And it's extremely offensive to a lot of people. And, you know, some people might find this stuff funny, but frankly, from my point of view as a gamer, and I've spoken to a lot of my friends as well, older gamers specifically, who have been playing games for years, you go online and you get a constant stream of abuse and it's not even funny. You know, I don't mind hearing someone swear, and there was a case a fair few years ago now. I think I was playing Call of Duty online, one of the earlier versions of it, and there was a guy running around and he had a very strong West Country accent and he was swearing like a trooper, and it was hilarious because the way he was using swearing was funny and it made me laugh, and I think it was making everyone else laugh as well. We were all having a great laugh, and the guy was it was self-depreciating humour that he was using. It was about the fact that he was crap at the game, and he was making us all really laugh because he kept dying and he was swearing, and it was kind of faux anger, if you like. So, there is a place for swearing, and I've got no problem with it per se. But I do think we have to be aware, and especially if you're somebody like PewDiePie, who is in the media eye, and especially now he's in the media eye, he has to have some responsibility. He has to take care about what he says. Let's be honest, there will be kids watching his channel. Now, maybe they shouldn't be, but they will be. So he has to take some responsibility. Nevertheless, I do think that the response from Sean Vanneman over at Campo Santo Games, well, was frankly bizarre. He immediately took to Twitter and said that he was going to be issuing a DMCA strike against PewDiePie for what he said in his live stream. This was a live stream in which PewDiePie was playing PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, or PUBG. He wasn't playing Firewatch. So what the hell has Sean Vanneman got to do with issuing a DMCA strike against him for his Firewatch streams or his Firewatch videos? It makes no sense to me. Now, if Sean Vanneman had taken to Twitter and said, PewDiePie's a moron, or PewDiePie's an idiot for doing this, and he, even if he said he was a racist, and as I said before, I actually don't think that PewDiePie's a racist. I think that PewDiePie's an idiot, a moron maybe, but I don't think he's a racist. But I don't know. Maybe he is. Maybe he is. But the issue here is whether Sean Vanneman was in any position to issue a DMCA strike against PewDiePie's Firewatch videos. And I don't think he was. Why? What has Firewatch got to do with it? He wasn't playing Firewatch at the time. If the PUBG guys had gone on and said they were going to issue a DMCA, I'd still have an issue with it, because I'm not sure that they have grounds for a DMCA based on PewDiePie swearing, because DMCA is very specific. Now, I'm no expert, and I'm basically basing these ideas on what I saw in Leonard French's video. And I suggest you go over and look at his video, because he deals with it in a way that I couldn't begin to, because he, after all, is a copyright lawyer. So he's covered this very well. But I just think that it seems very, very odd that a developer would wade into this when he could have just, one, kept his mouth shut and not said anything at all, and it wouldn't have been an issue for their company because PewDiePie wasn't playing their game, or two, gone on as a private citizen or even a representative of the company and said what I've already said. Say that you think that it's out of order what PewDiePie did. And yeah, okay, it is out of order. But this is crazy. This weaponizing DMCA is just insane, and it's not good for the industry at all. So I think we're dealing with two very separate issues here. One, was PewDiePie in the wrong? Well, I think that's pretty clear. I don't think PewDiePie should have said the word he said. And this is a difficult one for me because I'm a firm believer in free speech. And I think that, PewDiePie's got every right to use the word if he wants to. But I think that if you're going to use a word like that, then you have to take the consequences that will come your way as a result of using it. And, he wasn't inciting violence. He wasn't trying to stir people up in a racial sense. He just threw out a word. And I can imagine him sitting there saying that and his heart starting to beat like crazy because he realized exactly what he's just said. He even said sorry straight away afterwards because he must have known that he'd dropped a bollock. So that's the one issue. The fact that we've got people out there using these words and they need to understand that you can't just go around doing this. And PewDiePie being bigger is going to get noticed when he says things like this. But there's loads of people out there going around just throwing out all sorts of words and all sorts of shit and just pissing people off by being arseholes. So that's one issue. The second one is the DMCA strikes. And I just think that the way Sean Vanneman has behaved here is beyond the pale. What the hell has it got to do with him in terms of his game? I don't understand that. That makes no sense at all to me. But, you guys may have a different view on that to me. But my personal view here is that if I was a developer and I'd made a game and Pewdiepie had played that game and then he was playing another game and he'd acted like an arse, I think my response would just be, he's an arse. And we get and maybe open up the conversation like I have here and talk about the fact that this is an ongoing problem in gaming culture. There are a lot of prats out there running around frankly, like morons who think it's funny just to throw out every single crazy word they can think of. And a lot of them are kids and, kids are stupid, aren't they? Let's be honest. And they'll grow up and they'll be reasonable, decent human beings, hopefully. But not all of them are kids. We got adults doing it as well, and they should know better. And frankly, Pewdiepie should know better. But issuing DMCA strikes, nah. No. I don't think he's got a leg to stand on here. I think if Pewdiepie wanted to make an issue of this, he could. But, let's be honest, he'd look really bad if he did. And, kind of rightly so, I think. But I think, so we've got a clash of two issues here. And neither of the people in this story, if you like, are in the right. They're both in the wrong. Pewdiepie dropped a bollock, and Sean Vanneman has basically taken a sledgehammer to crack a nut. And you know what? It wasn't even his nut to crack in the first place. But as I say, that's my view. You guys might think something completely different. Let me know in the comments, and as usual, we'll discuss it. And in the meantime, I'm going to go and get myself a cup of tea. And I think I actually might lie down in a dark room because I was out at the weekend and I still got a hangover. And I'll speak to you in the next one. Bye.